All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And I know you guys have been waiting patiently for an update, but I have got to be honest. I have been extremely busy with my daughter's graduation, physical therapy, and also I've been going through cataloging the last third of my comic book collection, which I will show you a little bit of in today's video. And that takes an enormous amount of time. Plus, I'm getting caught up on some of my voiceover stuff that I've been behind on, and so I have been extremely busy and not able to throw up another video. And I wanted to see the aftermath of the Superman trailer, and boy, did the Twitterverse and social media not disappoint on this. Now, before I show you the screen grabs I'm going to show you today, I want to make a very interesting point about the Snyderverse, because a lot of people are feeling threatened by the Snyderverse with the new Superman movie coming out, and they constantly have to throw in everybody's face that the Snyderverse failed and that Batman versus Superman ruined it for everybody. And I finally had it this past week with people saying this, and I started proving a point and making a point in those posts. Everyone claims that Batman versus Superman ruined the DCEU, but yet they kept coming for the next 4 years through Aquaman in record numbers. The only slight dip was with Justice League, because it was the most generic superhero film probably ever made up until that point. And it had a dip in viewership, but then came right back up for Aquaman. After that, everything tanked. It tanked. And someone said that's because, well, not just someone. A lot of people say that's because Batman versus Superman ruined it for everybody. That's not how this works. Someone even tried to articulate that they just wanted a different feel for the films and that those films were too serious and everybody wanted to get away from the serious feel, and it ruined everything. And I said, okay, let's go by that logic. Let's just say that is the case. Let's say that the audience wanted a different tone and they wanted things to be completely different. That change came after Aquaman. Why did people stop coming? That's when everything changed. That's when everything became what everybody claims they want out of superhero films. That's when all the comedy came in, the lightheartedness, and that's when everybody stopped going to the movies to see these superhero films. It's a fact. The only time they came back was when Black Adam came out and things got a little more serious, and the audience came back for that, and then they announced a reboot and everything tanked after that too. So it's a fact that when things become a comedy with DC, people stop going to the theater. They just do not go. They don't support it. They don't want to support it. So that argument does not hold any weight. It is a fact that the DCU was extremely successful at the beginning and all the way through Aquaman. It just was. And because the studio didn't follow through, that's where the problems come in. All right, now let's take a look at the screen grabs, because things have been pretty freaking hilarious since that trailer got released. All right, so one thing I wanted to show here, this is one of the coolest comic covers, I think, to come out in years. This is from Absolute Batman number 8, which did go on sale last Wednesday. I picked up the regular cover plus this cover. I haven't read it yet. I'm eager to read this second part of this story, because Bane comes into the Absolute universe with the next issue, and is going to be a major running arc. If you're not reading Absolute Batman, you are missing out. Now, it's really funny because there was an investor's call with David Zaslav, and David Zaslav says these 4 characters will be the pillars and asset builders of the DCU: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl. And what's hilarious about this is they haven't said anything about Batman or Wonder Woman. They just haven't. Yeah, Superman is coming out, but I don't think it's going to be the juggernaut people expect it to be, and we're going to talk about why here in a little bit. They've mentioned nothing about Wonder Woman, and there's talk about Batman, but in all these different directions, there's nothing definitive. And David Zaslav has been saying this since before he took over. He talked about how he can't believe that Warner Brothers messed this up so bad and did not count on the Trinity to be a big part of the DC universe. And he couldn't believe that these characters had been shoved to the side. Well, he hasn't made any headway on that whatsoever. Yeah, we're getting a Superman film here in just a few weeks. And you've got Supergirl next year, but there's nothing in the works for Wonder Woman or Batman, and it takes years to make a film. So how they're going to be the pillars, I don't even know if this DCU is ever going to get off the ground, to be honest with you. We're going to talk about why here in a little bit. So some more toys have been released, images from some of the toys. And there's a couple things to note in this picture here. It says Lex gets a suit from DCU Updates. Very interesting that he gets a suit. Some people are assuming he is that Juggernaut-looking character, but nobody knows for sure. And it just looks like this movie is overbloated with characters, to be honest with you, if you look at all of this. And then what's interesting is they have this little green guy. His name is Joey, and we're going to talk a little more about Joey a little bit further in this video here. Also on Twitter, I started making the point that in comics, it's time to bring Alfred back. Alfred has been gone for more than 5 years. It's time to bring this character back. I'm sorry, but Bruce Wayne and Batman, it's just not the same without having Alfred around. He's a big part of this. You know, going back and I'm rereading, which is my absolute favorite run of comics. It's the Scott Snyder run of Batman back when the Court of Owls started. And Alfred was a huge part of this. And he's just not the same with him gone. Batman is not Batman without Alfred. I'm sorry. He's just not. It's time to bring him back. Also, James Gunn confirms there's encouraging updates to Matt Reeves' The Batman 2. Someone asked, has there been any encouraging updates on The Batman 2? And James Gunn says yes. Now, the word on the streets is that Matt Reeves has been turning in a few pages at a time and turning them in to, not to James Gunn because he's not in charge of this, into Warner Brothers. And so a finished script is supposedly going to be turned in by in June sometime. So these are just rumors. We don't know if this is fact at this stage. I still don't know if this movie is ever going to be made. It's going to be a long time between the first and second film. Also, here is a shot of a third of my comic collection. I have a total of, I think, 27 short boxes like this, and now everything is boxed up, and I've got a few more boxes to catalog, but everything is boxed up and organized, and so you'll see some pictures from some of my collection in this video. Now, this did not happen. I grabbed this last week, and it says Stephanie Williams will announce something related to Wonder Woman on Monday, and this comes from DCU Updates, and this did not end up happening, and so I haven't seen any announcements in regards to Wonder Woman. We will see if anything does get announced, but nothing did. And this is one of the things, when people are saying something is going to happen, you cannot trust them. We're going to talk about that. This has to do with the aftermath of the Superman trailer. Now, this is pretty funny. This got posted around a lot, and it says, people are so weird about Superman online. James Gunn says, tell me about it. That another person says, I feel like it's a loud minority of people, though. Like most people either do not care nearly as much or are normal about it. And James Gunn said, very, very much the minority. It's funny how they say that. Because I got to tell you, if Superman does not break $1 billion, I'm sorry, it's a failure. Straight up, it's a failure. Everybody talks about how he's the most recognizable character around the world. You've got James Gunn, who's supposedly this big name in the center of everything. He's going to save DC. He's going to save it. He had these blockbuster films with Marvel. He had the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. He is their god. He is going to rise DC from the ashes. He's in every set photo. He's out there and in front. He is going to save DC. And he knows that these other fans are the minority. Okay, if Superman doesn't break $1 billion, you guys are all going to have egg on your faces. I'm sorry, it has to break $1 billion. It has to. Now, what they fail to realize is that that Batman is DC's most profitable franchise, both movie-wise and comics-wise, and the Batman didn't even break $800 million. So there is this movie. I don't expect this movie to even break $500 million. I've talked about that. I think between 400 and 500, and that's being generous because I thought The Flash was going to make that, and The Flash didn't even make $300 million. And so I believe it was under $300 million. And so the same thing, I think we're getting a complete repeat of what happened with The Flash. They think they know, but they don't know. Also, Spin Masters released a photo of Ultraman. So this character with the big U on it, which from the comics is Ultraman, that he has officially been tagged as Ultraman in Superman, so that has been confirmed at this stage. This is who I figured it was. A lot of people are like, it's going to be Doomsday. It's going to be Bizarro. It's going to be Ultraman. Nobody knew for sure. This kind of definitely clarifies that. Now, here's where some of the crazy stuff from the trailer come out. There are people online, you need to be wary of this. They are photoshopping Henry Cavill's face onto some set photos with Ultraman, saying it's Henry Cavill under that suit. I can guarantee you there is no way that is Henry Cavill under that suit. It is not going to happen. So anybody telling you that or showing you photos, it's fake, it's not real. There's a lot of misinformation going out there in regards to the trailer. Now, there was a part in the trailer, and this is ridiculous. There was a part in the trailer at the very end where Superman flies up into the sky, and then he comes down. He looks like he's doing a cannonball. And somebody asked James Gunn, wait, so does this mean Superman could just make his flight suddenly stop and fall to the whims of gravity, or is he propelling himself downwards? And James Gunn said he's propelling himself downward in the cannonball position, gaining speed from above. You wouldn't want to be on the other end of this. Why in the world would Superman ever have to do anything like that? He's got super strength and super speed, okay? There is no reason why he would ever have to do anything like that. This is the goofy shit that James Gunn is going to do in the film. He's going to bring in this goofy crap, doing weird things with Superman that you would have expected to see in a cartoon from the 1960s and 1970s. This does not represent audiences today. This is going to come off as goofy, as weird, and it's what James Gunn does. It's who he is. It's his MO. Now, this was really funny. So Axel Braun came out and said, somebody was talking about this summer preview in Entertainment Weekly, and somebody said this looks like a porn parody. And Axel Braun, who is known in that industry, came out and said, sadly, it does look like a porn parody, just not one of mine. My movies were never this goofy. I had way better costumes, and most importantly, I always respected the source material because I care. Fire James Gunn. Wow, this got posted everywhere all over social media, and this is a shot from the actual movie, and it does. This looks very, very cheap. The whole movie just has this cheap look to it, and it's the same crew that worked on The Flash is working on Superman, if that tells you anything, and look at how The Flash turned out. Now, this has not been confirmed, but this is something that I've noticed about the costume and some of the promotional materials they're putting out. Notice how it's tight-fitting in this, and it is not in any of the set photos. It says Superman will get a new upgraded suit at the end of the movie. I want to point out that this has never happened in superhero films before. This gets talked about in just about every single superhero film, but it never happens. It was supposed to happen in the Batman. It was supposed to happen in a bunch of other movies, but it never happens, okay? It just doesn't happen. Will it happen in Superman? I mean, there's always a possibility it could, but I have noticed recently that a lot of the promotional materials are, and even in the trailer, the suit looked a lot tighter. I think they are. I think, how they fixed his eye from twitching in the trailer? I also think they are going in and tightening up the suit to make it look more like Superman than having it super baggy like it was and how it was going to be and showed off in the teaser trailer. Here is my favorite box to go through when I was going through all of my comics. I have a whole box that is just dedicated to Indiana Jones. I have the entire Marvel run from back in the 80s. I also have every run from Dark Horse, and it all started with The Fate of Atlantis. Pretty cool stuff. My favorite character of all time right there. Here was some Superman stuff that I didn't realize that I had. I'd forgotten I'd bought this stuff. I now have one box that is dedicated to Superman. I have a bunch of Batman, Superman, and Trinity comics, but this is stuff I forgot I had, and this is back from 1993. Well, The Secret Origins is actually from 1989. As I was going through it, I had these trade paperbacks, The Death of Superman, World Without a Superman, and The Return of Superman. One day I'd like to get a hardbound version of that entire story, get the omnibus. Now, nobody knows if this is true, but it says, according to Nerdrotic, Warner Brothers have added post-credit scene to Gunn's Superman movie, and apparently it's a Brainiac and Hal Jordan Green Lantern's cameo. This could be a possibility, especially if they want to tie it into the Green Lantern show. But again, it's cameo porn, which Gunn said they would never do. And I'm going to have a prediction on Brainiac here in a minute. Now, no one has confirmed this yet, but it says Superman tickets go on sale June 12th. Get ready, Superman. And this has not been confirmed yet. We're still waiting to hear when exactly the tickets are going to go on sale, but we should find out shortly. Also, one of the very first comic books I ever purchased was Starman #1. This is back when I started collecting. It started with the Death in the Family storyline with Batman, and I had actually picked this up. It was all over the news here in Arizona because this character came from Arizona, and I found out about it. And when I was at my local Circle K, I picked this up off of the rack back when it was originally on. I used to have the entire run of this, but before I got married, I had 2 long boxes of comics that had like all the Nightfall, the Night Quest, all of that Batman stuff, and I had actually gave all that stuff to a comic shop for credit, which I regret doing. There was a lot of valuable stuff in there, and I regret doing that, but I did keep some of this stuff like this. Now, there was a lot of talk about this all over social media the other day, too, and if this is something that people get to watch at home, I think that's a mistake, but people mentioned they did this with the Batman and actually had showings for fans. And it says there seems to be an Amazon Prime early screening of Superman on July 7th. I hope this is the case. I would like to be able to see it, get my review out as quickly as possible, and be done with this film entirely. I'm ready for this to pass. I'm ready to move on from it. I really don't think this movie is going to be as good as they claim it's going to be. If it is, kudos to them, but I don't see anything that says it is going to be amazing. In fact, there are people out there who have recut the trailer, and it's way more Superman-like and way more amazing. And what's funny is it cuts out all the stuff where Superman is getting beat up. He gets beat up and beat down a lot in that trailer. You don't get to see him be Superman very often, and it's very crazy the sense they're giving off with this character that he is going to be a very soft Superman, not a strong Superman. But we shall see when the movie gets released. Also, this comes from Variety. Jai Courtney hopes to play Boomerang in the DC Universe again and has already spoken to James Gunn. I was like, come on, man, Boomerang is cool. And James is like, you know, these rules don't really apply. Just because he dies here doesn't mean it's gone forever, right? And I was like, hell yeah. So I have hope. Somewhere in the back of my mind, there's a prayer that we'll see more Boomerang one day. We shall see. Here is one of the coolest comic runs ever. This run of Superman Batman, I have the entire run, and I think it was all 78 issues, and I have 5 annuals. This spawned some of the best stories for Batman and Superman, like Public Enemies. You had also the Supergirl story, which is one of my favorite overall stories, period. Here are the comics actually from that series. They're going in reverse order in these photos. But this is Michael Turner did the art, and he has since passed away. But Michael Turner did some amazing art with DC, and some of his covers, and I mean, just the art in the comic is absolutely amazing. And there's some cool stuff with Batman and Superman in these particular issues. It was a really good, very popular story. I might get these graded one day and put them in plastic. Some pretty cool stuff. Yeah, Dark Side. Yep. Stories don't get much better than this. All right, now here's one of the goofy things that people were posting online. This is one of the DC, McFarlane toys. This is Baby Joey from the movie Superman. Who is Baby Joey? I don't know, but this is some goofy crap that James Gunn does. People are likening this to Groot, that he's always got to have some weird side character from, like Guardians of the Galaxy. And I wouldn't be surprised if they turn this character into Brainiac. I would not be surprised at all. Now, there was some conflicting reports in regards to Tim Drake and just Robin in the DCU, because there is a Teen Titans movie supposedly in the works. And this person, APOC Horseman, is is saying that Tim Drake is rumored to lead the Teen Titans. Yet somebody else said it is going to be Damian Wayne that is going to lead the Teen Titans. So nobody knows exactly how this is all going to play out and what history of Batman they will follow. But we will find out shortly when those things get announced. Now, this is pretty pathetic. This is where a lot of the misinformation comes from. Now, people are saying, there are analysts out there saying this movie is going to make about $150 million on its opening weekend here in the U.S. And MovieWeb, pathetic. Zach who? Learn more. Okay, it says Superman set to soar this summer with rumored record-breaking opening weekend box office. And I don't think it's going to be record-breaking at all. You have, a week before this gets released, you have Jurassic World. And I think more people are going to be interested in Jurassic World than they are Superman. People like their dinosaurs. People are getting burned out on superhero films. And there's a lot of misinformation going out there. There are people posting that Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill have seen Superman and they love it. These are all lies, okay? You're going to see a lot of different outlets online turning against what came before. And there's no reason to mention Zack. And the more they mention Zack just shows you how much of an impression those films made. And it will definitely be compared to, because that's the latest Superman, and he should still be Superman. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of comparisons. But for them to sit there and all these outlets to say that Superman is great, it's peak, it is going to be amazing, it's just shills, okay? Because there's no indication that that's going to happen. The film hasn't come out. James Gunn is a mediocre filmmaker at best. And there's nothing even indicating. I mean, even the trailer itself. I told you the aftermath of the trailer. I have yet to see anybody who said that trailer is amazing. Nobody has. It was a mediocre trailer. And like I said, a lot of people are recutting it and making even better trailers than James Gunn did. And nobody has said it looks amazing. You cannot have a mediocre film lead this DCU. Now, this pretty much confirms she's in the film, and I think they've said this, but Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow's Millie Alcock reacts to her rumored Superman cameo. I don't want to get sued. No, I can't. I really can't, as much as I want to. And so she had a quote about being asked if she is in Superman. So you know she's got to be in there. And if the rumors are true, she's going to come at the end to get her dog from Superman, and she's going to be drunk off her ass, kind of like Aquaman was in Aquaman 2, which was a travesty. All right, guys, so what do you think about all of the fake praise the film is getting, all the fake behind-the-scenes photos, the fake quotes, the fake praise? For a film that hasn't even been released yet, people talk about it going to be peak and that this is going to be the best Superman film ever, and there's nothing to even indicate that that is happening. I'm here to try and keep it real and keep things grounded. If the movie ends up being amazing, I will tell you, but I'm not expecting much from Warner Brothers or from James Gunn. I just don't see it happening, but they have everything to prove. So hopefully they will prove me wrong, but we'll see. And I know a lot of people are just not going to see this film at all, but the time is quickly approaching. If you stick to my channel, you will be getting all of the DC updates as they get released. I do appreciate all the support. We will see you guys on the next video.